Welcome to Satchats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. So if you are a pre-coiner with no Bitcoin at all, we want to chat about sats with you. Satchats.com to grab your slot today. I'm your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you from the El Salvadorian volcano strength Bitcoin laser eyes shooting out of my face.
And I am Chris, your co-host, founder, and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, Bitcoin smash buyer, and also proud multi-coiner.
Ooh, proud MC. Let's go. So today's episode, we have Justin, who worked as a sales rep at the same cybersecurity as I did. 2 reps right here in the Southeast trying to sling that cyber. We talked about the value of the blockchain along with the value of Bitcoin itself, separate from the fact that people just want it. And we also talked about the fact that he bought some Bitcoin years ago and sold it too early. So if you're curious about any of those things, you're going to love the episode. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Smash those like Chris smash buys Bitcoin. And we will see you on the next one. Here's Justin. You have some Bitcoin.
Very little, yes, but yes, a little bit, yeah.
No one has enough, so it's okay.
But I did have a lot more, say like 6-7 years ago in college. You know, I think when I was in college, that's kind of when I started learning about Bitcoin. People started getting into it, and from time to time, I go back into my Coinbase account, and I don't know why I do this to myself, but I look at all the Bitcoin I had 7-8 years ago, and I'm like, why would you sell that? Like, I think I got it at like 20-30K, and didn't really know why, didn't know what I was really doing, didn't really, have any plans to hold it for the super long term, didn't really know what it was going to become. So I was just in college and, bought some and sold it, and here we are today with a lot less.
Still working. So let's unpack that real quick. 6 to 7 years ago, you bought Bitcoin for the first time, and the price was somewhere between 20 and 30K.
So yeah, back in 2017, my first purchase of Bitcoin on Coinbase, I bought $840 worth at $9,200.
Bro, stop.
I know.
Dude, so how many sats did you get for $840?
I had 0.089 Bitcoin.
Holy smokes. Okay, so Chris, put 0.089, right? So that's
and then a day later, I bought $1,000 more.
Okay. So first put 0.089 in your calculator. Okay. Right? Because that was almost 9 million sats that you got, right? Then the next day you bought $1,000 more. So you bought 840, then you bought $1,000. How many sats did you get for the $1,000?
That was 0.1.
0.1? Okay, so you got 0.089, then you got 0.1. Okay. So then add 0.1. All right. So you had 0.189 Bitcoin in 2017. And you bought that for $1,840. Right? $1,840. 1,008. Okay. Now check the Clark Moody dashboard real quick. Let's see what the price of Bitcoin is right now.
96,440.
Okay, so flip back. 96,440. Go X 96440. Okay, so it was $1,840 in 2017, and we hit enter. $18,000. Bro, you
It would
could
be $18,000 right now.
$18,227.16, bro. You would have 10x'd.
Yeah.
So, when did you first hear about Bitcoin, Justin?
Probably 2016, 2015.
Was it
right? Freshman, sophomore year of college.
Was it a guy who said something? Was it online somewhere? Was it a video?
I don't remember exactly.
Was it a lady?
Was
You
it a
know, it was
lady?
probably it was you know, it was just probably it was just kind of a hot thing in college then, you know. Everybody was talking about it and everybody was buying some, and I had a kid in my fraternity who was very into it, and you know, he definitely pushed it a lot within the fraternity. But yeah, it was just kind of all over campus and whatnot.
So what made you decide to look a little bit more closely enough to buy some and go, you know what? Yeah, this is something. I'll buy it.
I think it really just was a little bit of FOMO. You know, I didn't want to, you know, be missing out on it. I didn't really do a ton of research into it. You know, I wish I could give you a better answer on why. It was just kind of, I wanted to be part of that trend that was going on, and I thought it was a good opportunity just to buy some and see what happened, and wish I just held it, you know. So
I think that's true for everyone, right?
yeah,
If you bought some in the past and sold it, you're like, ooh. If you come to Bitcoin today and you get it, then you're like, oh, I wish I had bought some back in the day. So
it sucks.
It does and it doesn't, right? Because guess what? Well, you know, you can just go buy some more
at 96K, yeah.
Right.
And I still feel good about buying it. You know, from, you know, I've over the last couple of years, and more recently, actually, I've been trying to understand it a little bit better, and you know, listening to like Michael Saylor. I don't, you know, from all the people that I've, you know, all the research I've done recently, I don't think 96K is too expensive. You know, I don't, you know, that's why I'm bullish on buying it. You know, I still don't have the strongest understanding of it, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's just my gut instinct. I actually, before you approached me to be on the podcast, I actually picked up this book, The Basics of the Basics of Bitcoins and Blockchains.
Who wrote that?
Just want to understand it better. Huh?
Who's the author on that?
Anthony Lewis.
Okay.
Not really sure what his background is, but I just looked up best books to understand the basics of Bitcoin and blockchains, right? So just trying to really wrap my head around the technology around it, the benefits of it, you know, why do people think it's going to go up to $1 million? And a lot of the book is around, I'm only like, you know, quarter of the way done with it, but the first part of the book is a really basic introduction to just money, and the history of money and the history of banking, and you know, basic concepts like cryptography. Just to wrap your head around where money, you know, the history of money and how it's changed over the years. So it's really interesting so far, but still kind of trying to wrap my head around like the technological benefits around blockchain and the long-term kind of value around Bitcoin, other than, you know, everybody says there's a limited supply, so it's only going to go up. He actually kind of debunks that a little bit in saying that's not really a good reason why it's, you know, going to increase in value, because if it's worthless just because it's a limited supply doesn't mean the value is going to go up. So, you know, just trying to wrap my head around things and be a little bit more educated, so I feel more comfortable buying more at this new pricing.
So what are some of the questions that you're trying to tackle right now in order to have that conviction?
I guess really trying to understand from a, why is Bitcoin a good, or what makes a Bitcoin valuable, and why do people think it's going to be, maybe not replacing the dollar, but like a very solid alternative to the dollar? Why do people, see value in it long term? And then what are the, I hear a lot about blockchain technology. Is there any, you know, value in that technology for Bitcoin? And is that a factor in the value long term?
Okay. So why is Bitcoin valuable? Why is the blockchain valuable? And I felt like there was almost a third question there in the middle.
Just like like what makes it a good, like, long-term investment and, storage of value, not necessarily like an alternative for payments, like the US dollar, but like what makes it a good, like, investment vehicle?
Okay. So maybe we start with the blockchain component.
Yeah.
My understanding of the blockchain so far, and of course I've been juicing on this for a limited amount of time. So what's nice is nobody fully understands Bitcoin. So none of us have to be experts, right? Well, all we have to do is share our experience so far. And for me, the blockchain represents a public spreadsheet that anyone can see, anyone can download, anyone can have their copy of it. Can't nobody fool me and tell me that some transaction has happened that hasn't happened, right? So instead of a bank holding a private spreadsheet that only it can see and saying, hey, trust me, bro, we can all have like a shared Google spreadsheet and we can all work on it together and we can all see it get updated in real time, right? So I think the $10 phrase from Latin and Greek roots is immutable ledger, right? The blockchain is an immutable ledger. And that basically just means it's a big old spreadsheet that can't be changed once you have put a new line item in there, and everyone around the world, all 20,000 some odd nodes are like, yep, yes. It gets verified, 9 ways from Sunday, right? So the blockchain represents a key component of Bitcoin because it allows you to track every single transaction from the beginning of all time, right? And that's part of the reason why we know that when I send you 100,000 sats, those are my sats and I do have them and they're going to you and they're yours now. Without going too deep into the blockchain, there is likely some other applications, right? Like what about committing a house deed to the blockchain? Whoa.
Yeah.
Then it's like, dude, this is my house, homie. Okay.
Yep.
All right. It's not your house. There's no cloud on the title, right? There's no dispute here. It's my house. And maybe you go beyond that to other spaces. And that's when you start getting all juicy about your 3 units of coin, with your dApps and your contracts that self-activate or execute or whatever. But for our purposes, the blockchain is a good, clean public spreadsheet. Why is Bitcoin valuable? Okay, because your boy, Andrew Lewis over there says, hey, just because it's scarce doesn't mean it's valuable, right? And he's right. Like, let's imagine we have only 1 acre of this particular type of grass. And it's just like every other grass you can get, but it just happens to be its own variety. It's like, well, it's a super rare form of grass. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
So it does need to have some value outside of its scarcity in order to be valuable. It definitely does make it valuable, however, right?
Yeah.
Let's imagine you're on a pirate ship in the 19th century and apples worldwide are fairly abundant, but there's only 1 apple left on the pirate ship, and there's 40 pirates, and all of you are developing scurvy because none of you have enough vitamin C. What happens to that apple? Dude, that apple is valuable. I will kill you for that apple. I will kill you for that apple, right? And even as it's going bad, as long as I can eat it without poisoning myself, I'm going to eat it because there's some vitamin C in there. So Bitcoin having scarcity does make it valuable because there's only so much of it.
We need everybody in the world to have scurvy over it.
We do need digital scurvy, right?
Digital scurvy, yeah.
So why are people going to realize that they have digital scurvy? Well, here's why. For money to be good, it needs to have 3 properties. Are you familiar with these?
Talks about them in chapter 1.
Okay, and let's test your knowledge.
Yeah, let's see if I can remember. Storage of value. I forget the term, but you have to be able to pay taxes with it.
Okay, like a medium of exchange? Is that what he's using?
Yeah, medium of exchange. Yep.
Last one.
I wanted to say backed by an asset, but I don't think that's right.
Okay. So it's unit of account.
Unit of account. That's
right.
it.
So let's talk about the first one, store of value. And this will kind of answer your question a little bit about why is Bitcoin a long-term store of value. Let's imagine bananas are money. I'm going to convert from a dollar standard to a banana standard. I'm going to sell all my nation state paper because I think bananas are money. 1 week later, what's going on with the bananas?
They are increasing in value.
They're rotten, dude.
Oh.
They turn black and greasy and you can't use them anymore, right?
Hey, you can make banana bread out of those.
You can make banana bread.
Point.
Okay. And then how long does the banana bread last before it goes bad?
Got like a week or 2 out of good banana bread, and then,
Right. So if I said, I think bananas are money, I'm going to store all my value in bananas, I'm going to be baroque before very long, right? Yep. It's not going to work out well for me. So let's imagine we use a house instead. All right. My US dollars aren't so hot. It costs more money every year to buy the same thing. It's almost like they're just melting ice cubes. So I'm going to store my value in a home. I mean, that's what I grew up with, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert T. Kiyosaki. Yep. Here we go. Let's
get out of the rat race.
So we grew up with that. Hey, go to the bank, get a mortgage, buy a house, put a renter in it. And then the idea is that the rent for the house will exceed the mortgage payment, along with a little buffer for having to replace the fridge or the water pipes burst. And then you want a little profit on top of that as well, right? So, hey, let me store my value in a house. Okay, number one, that's a lot of work. Last time I checked. Ooh, full-time landlord? Nah. Okay. Number two, the banana goes bad after a week. If you don't take care of a house, it will return to nature within 50 years, right? Excellent book called The World Without Us. Will show you what happens if humanity were to blink off the face of the earth. The houses would go to nature in about 50 years. Now, some of them are going to get burnt. Some of them are going to go up in flames. Some of them are going to have a tree land on them. Some of them are going to get flooded out. Some will get destroyed in an earthquake. And even if your house is a good house, you do need to pay your nation state, your friendly local nation state, its property taxes, among other things. So you put your money into a house, and then hopefully over time, the value of the house goes up and you can sell the house and now you have more money. So it is a store of value. It happens to be a store of value because we're in this backward fiat world, but it's fine. It's a store of value. It's better than bananas.
Yep.
All right. Now I want you to imagine you take your value and you store it in Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin is a decentralized program that is not owned by anyone or run by anyone specific. It's 20,000 plus nodes checking that big old blockchain ledger. It's a bunch of miners who are taking the transactions, putting them into groups, solving a big old math puzzle about it, and then committing that to the blockchain, right? And then it's dudes like me and you who are just transacting on top of that because we're not miners and we don't run our own node, okay? So no matter what we do, Bitcoin will continue to operate. It's called tick-tock next block, right? How often does a new block hit the blockchain? Can you tell me?
Is it every 20 transactions?
Every 10 minutes, they take the transactions that have occurred and they commit them to the block, right?
Yeah, new block. Okay,
Right.
yep.
There's more than 20 transactions in a block. But it's more about every 10 minutes, a new block hits the blockchain. And Bitcoin is designed to scale in mathematical difficulty the more people who are mining, and to come down in difficulty the less people who are mining. So that it always takes about 10 minutes for a new block, right? So if I send sats to you on chain, it should take about 10 minutes for it to show up, right? On average, depending on the fees I've set. So no matter what's going on, the bananas could be decaying. The house could get hit by a tree. The nation state could get racked with a financial crisis or a pandemic. Doesn't matter because Bitcoin will keep going for all time so long as the internet exists. Okay. And if you and I jump into a world where the internet doesn't exist, we don't care what happens to Bitcoin because we are fully in a zombie apocalypse at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going straight back to barter. It's all good. I'm going to have a hammer, right? Because I'm more of a bludgeoner, and I'm going to be protecting my family from the zombies. Do you know what I mean? So Bitcoin is going to work no matter what. And the supply of Bitcoin is going to go down no matter what. Right? So about every 4 years.
Supply,
Yeah.
The supply of like available Bitcoin to mine, you mean?
The reward for solving the puzzle goes down over time. So what do I mean by that?
So,
when you're a miner and you take the transactions and you solve the block, you commit it to the blockchain, Bitcoin says, hey man, thanks for your hard work. We get it takes energy to power the computers. They're doing this. And so you're going to get paid in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And in 2009, you would get 50 Bitcoin for solving a block. 50 Bitcoin. Justin, what's 50 times 100K?
5 million?
It's 5 million bucks. Ooh, every 10 minutes, 5 million bucks. Right? Back then it was no million bucks. But if you if you held on to it, it would be a lot of million bucks.
So can we go into like, I don't really understand the mining aspect and what, like when Satoshi created Bitcoin, what was his kind of purpose for mining, the mining part, and like, how did he set that up? How do miners actually do their job and mine? I know, it sounds like they have to do some mathematical equations, but like, how does somebody mine Bitcoin,
Okay. Let's see what Chris knows so far about mining.
So my understanding of mining is on any computer, initially just a laptop you could own at in your home. You use the computing power to solve a math equation. And your computer requires energy to do that. So as your computer, cranks through this math problem, it's costing the miner energy. And initially, those computer problems were easy to solve, so it cost very little energy. But over time, the problems have gotten more difficult. So what used to be a home, CPU is now a warehouse full of, computing power that does nothing but sits there and constantly tries to solve a computer problem.
So are these math problems not like problems that a human can do? Like you need, you wouldn't be able to take a pen and paper and crank it out and submit the answer. These are, significantly complex problems that you need a computer for.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Not only are these math problems so hard that a human cannot solve them, they're so hard that the world's largest supercomputer cannot solve them. Okay? Every single computer that's attempting to solve the cryptographic puzzle is literally just guessing numbers as quickly as they can.
Okay.
It's faster to literally just guess.
So the math problem is essentially they're trying to decrypt an encrypted message. Is that accurate, or is it an actual like mathematical equation?
I don't think it's a function of encryption and decryption, even though the crypt and encryption and decryption is the same as the crypt and cryptography. I think it is more aligned to a math problem, and the solution to the math problem needs to have a certain amount of zeros at the very beginning of it in order to be solved. So this is an area where we still don't fully understand, but at a high level, it is a complex math puzzle, the answer to which is incredibly difficult to find, but incredibly easy to check whether it is correct. So you have these miners who are going absolutely ham, redlining ASICs to try to guess this number before anyone else does. But once they do, and they say, okay, I got the solution, every node on the network that is checking the spreadsheet can say, let's see here. Yep, that's the solution. Okay, you did it, right?
Yeah.
So one thing that's important to point out, Justin, is that the solution is not sequential or linear. So what do I mean by that? I mean that a tiny miner has every bit the same chance to guess the number first as a big old professional miner. Okay. So you might be SAS mining down in Paraguay, and you've strapped your rig to a waterfall down there, and you have 20 to 30 purpose-built mining rigs that are all connected in a pool and trying to solve it as a group. You might be me. And back at my house, I have a little bit axe that's running. A bit axe is a little buddy for like $200 that also mines Bitcoin. And you better believe, and dude, it's like so not powerful. It's hilarious. Like its best attempt is like one tiny fraction of the power you need. But if for some reason it manages to guess correctly, then I've won the lottery, dude. I've won the lottery.
So you get 1 Bitcoin.
No, dude, right now you get 3.125 Bitcoin for solving the block, plus transaction fees. So it's like 3.2, 3.3, right? So every morning I get up, I'm like, here we go. I'm going to go check my BitAx. I log into my Electrum wallet. I go to the address where I've set it up to where if I win the block, it goes to this address and it says 0. I'm like, no.
So it's basically you're buying a $200 lottery ticket.
Yeah, boy. Every 10 minutes, I have a 1 in 1 million chance of getting a lot of
Wow.
Bitcoin.
That's probably better odds than actually hitting the lottery.
It's sweet, dude. Can you imagine
Yeah.
waking up to 3.125?
Oh my God. That's,
Dude,
I got to get one of those. I didn't know those existed.
BitAxe, okay? Google
BitAxe, okay.
BitAxe, or if you're like me, hit that DuckDuckGo, privacy enthusiast. Let's
Yep.
go. And get yourself a BitAxe, right? Make sure you go to the BitAxe, to the guy's actual website where he's an open source dude. And you'll see
Yep.
there's a link to suppliers, right? Because it's an open source
Okay.
project. Somebody builds the BitAxe from scratch by breaking up a bigger miner into smaller chips.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can buy it, right? And there's a couple of suppliers in America. Get you a BitAxe. You buy it, comes to your house, you plug it in, you put it on the wireless network, and you join, I think it's like publicpool.io, which allows you to be a solo miner, right? Because you can join a group and say, hey guys, I'm going to add my power to your group. And like, okay, we solved the block. Your share is 100 sats. And you're like, okay, well, cool. Or you go solo miner and like, I'm going to YOLO this whole thing, dude. I'm going to get over $300,000 for mining some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's how mining works.
Okay. Interesting.
Right? So you have to work. And by the way, when you commit a block, you get the block reward. That's how you manufacture new Bitcoin, right? Just like mining gold, you have to work. To mine Bitcoin, you have to work. What do you have to do to make nation state paper, Justin?
Be a part of the government and part of the Federal Reserve and control all that.
Yep. Basically, right? You have to work for gold. You have to work for Bitcoin. You can just print nation state paper. Just print it. Okay. But you and I have to work for something the nation state can make for free.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you see can you see on the blockchain who, I guess, like the source of like each Bitcoin's mine? Like, can you see if somebody mined a Bitcoin with BitAxe versus if it was mined in Paraguay?
I believe you can see the address of the miner. And over time, people come to say, oh, that's the address for the ocean pool. Or maybe the address for a mining rig that's inside the ocean pool. So we know that Ocean solved it, right? But you might just get an address of a miner. And you're like, I don't know who that is, right? Because there are hobby miners like moi who are running a little buddy and crossing our fingers. Now, if you label your miner, they might know as well. So recently, somebody with a BitAxe solved a solo mined a block, dude.
Wow.
Solo mined a block.
Your dream.
Dude, homie spent 200 bills on a BitAxe and walked away with 300,000 dwills. It's a lot of money, bro. Right? but he labeled it. He had the big fat address, and then it was like .BitAxe. So the Bitcoin community believes that is a BitAxe that did it. You don't really have any way of telling, but since this anonymous person,
why would you do that if it wasn't?
Yeah. So what makes Bitcoin valuable? You have to work for it, right? You can't just make it out of thin air. The supply.
Well, one other question before you continue there. Where is Bitcoin mined from? Like, is there a Bitcoin mine that all the Bitcoin lives in, or is it?
It's inside the program, isn't it? Right?
So there is one source of Bitcoin program that people are mining into?
Well, Bitcoin itself is effectively a piece of software, right?
Right. Yep.
It's code.
Yeah.
And the code says, okay, article number 1, let there be Bitcoin. Cool. Article number 2, limit the supply to 21 million. Article number 3, in order to create more Bitcoin, you must solve a difficult math problem in order to verify transactions between people have occurred and commit that to the blockchain. And at the beginning of Bitcoin, it was 50 Bitcoin was the block reward. After about 4 years, 25 Bitcoin. After about 4 years, 12.5. 4 years, 6.25. And now it's been 4 years and we're in 3.125. So the block reward goes down over time. And that's another piece of the puzzle, right? Now, there isn't necessarily 21 million Bitcoin that exists that are waiting to be distributed. I don't believe. I think that it's just a piece of code that says, thou shalt distribute the block reward upon mining a block. And there are rules for how long it takes to solve, how long until you reduce the block reward, and when you stop issuing new Bitcoin altogether. Once you get to all 21 million, you stop issuing Bitcoin altogether. So it's not a mine in South Africa, right?
Yep.
And it's not even like files in a Google Drive waiting to be released. I think it's just commandments inside a program.
Yeah, it's within their software that lives in the ether.
But who's they, right?
We don't know.
Well, it's every single person that operates a node, isn't it? So the 20,000 computers worldwide that are running the Bitcoin software and verifying the work of the miners, right? They're the ones who are operating the code, so to speak. And in order to change that code and say, okay, guys, you know what? Psych your mind. How about 42 million Bitcoin and then no more after that? You would need a majority of those nodes to say, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and let more Bitcoin exist than 21 million. You know what those nodes are going to say? No.
Yeah.
Right? So not one person can change it. It has to be everyone.
So is Bitcoin like it's software, right? So is Bitcoin like a software company? Like, do people work for Bitcoin?
So there is no company. There is no CEO, right? You can't have one dude with a personality make a change that wrecks you out of nowhere, right? You can't have one dude who has the vision for the company who then dies and it loses steam and goes by the wayside. So Bitcoin has no company. Bitcoin has no employees. Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. Like, does gold have a company? Nah, it's just this thing in the earth, right? Does gold have employees? No.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, there are people who continue to develop the software, but they work as volunteers who end up living off the Bitcoin donations of Bitcoiners who appreciate them. And then when they release some new thing for Bitcoin, it's very careful. It's very well researched. And then a majority of the nodes need to update their software to include that new thing. And if they don't, then it doesn't go out, does it? Right?
Yeah.
So there's not a centralized form of control, which is part of its value. To go back to your question of why is Bitcoin valuable, you can't mess with it, right?
Yeah.
Can you mess with a nation state paper if you're the nation state? A lot, right?
Yeah.
It's almost actually the only thing you do if you're a nation state is you mess with your paper, right? Let's imagine you're Starbucks and you're like, hey guys, come through, buy a coffee for $7 or more from us, okay? We're going to give you rewards. We're going to give you points in our Starbucks app, okay? And once you get to 1,000 stars in Starbucks, you'll get a free coffee. And you're like, sweet, bro. Let me start racking up my points. A year later, without you knowing, they say, well, actually, I tell you what, you need 2,000 stars to get a free coffee. And you're like, dude, oh my God. So you changed it on me. You changed it on me, dude. I've been working my whole, I've spent $700 on coffee to try to get a free coffee from you. And now I got to get double the amount of points. Dude, this is debased. You're debasing your rewards program. You're debasing your nation state paper. Who can debase Bitcoin?
No one.
Not a person. Right? Because it's a program and it just runs. Okay. So store of value. When you take your nation state paper and you convert it into Bitcoin, you're giving yourself the highest possible chance that Bitcoin is going to be the same thing later and buy you the same amount of stuff later because it's doing the same thing it's always done. Right? When you work for nation state paper and you put that in a bank account, it's like melting away almost immediately. Right? And when you come back to it to spend it, you're like, dang, I actually need more than I thought I needed. Right? Because it used to be $7 to get my spicy chicken deluxe with pepper jack cheese and extra pickles, Chick-fil-A sauce, French fries, Dr. Pepper. Now it's like $12. What's going on? Okay.
Yeah. And that's just inflation.
That is inflation. Yeah.
So how does Bitcoin compare to like, buying stocks?
Okay. Bitcoin, Chris, over the past 16 years has done what compared to every other asset on earth?
Outperformed it.
It's going up like crazy. Okay? Dude, I had my little retirement account, Justin, and I put a lazy man's portfolio on it in 2019. And it was like, I was on Reddit's personal finance. They're like, hey, yo, 40% US stocks, 30% US bonds, 30% international stocks. It's guaranteed to go up 7% a year every year, man. You're good. Right?
Yep.
I was like, okay. I learned about Bitcoin last year. I went to check on my retirement portfolio. Over 5 years, my money had gone up 18%. Over 5 years. Not 18% per year. 18% total in 5 years. I dumped all that junk and bought the Bitcoin ETF with it in March. Just went because I'm like, I don't have access to this money anyways. If I try to draw it out now, I'm just going to get penalized. I'm not going to do anything until I'm like 65. So I might as well YOLO into Bitcoin and have it go to the moon. Dude, since March, that retirement portfolio is up like 60% in less than a year, dude. 18% 5 years, 60% 10 months. What? It's way better.
Yeah. So do you not own any stocks? It's all Bitcoin?
No, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Right. So back in January of 2024, they said ETFs are approved. I'm like, hold up, bro. I figured out Bitcoin has value. I found a gold coin in my house, sold it, bought Bitcoin. I had stock in Walt Disney World, sold it, bought Bitcoin. I had stock in Paychecks, sold it, bought Bitcoin. I had some Magic the Gathering cards in my house, sold them, bought Bitcoin. I had some junk in my house we weren't using, yard sale, sold them, bought Bitcoin. Because all that stuff is a shitcoin compared to Bitcoin.
Are you not concerned about the volatility compared to regular stocks?
Hell no. You know what Bitcoin has done over 16 years?
Gone up, but
it's gone up.
Does that mean it's always going to go up?
It's going up forever, Laura. Okay.
Why are you so confident about it?
So Bitcoin is money, right? Stocks are not money. Bonds are not money, right? Those are investments, okay?
Right.
Bitcoin is so many things, but it's also money because it stores your value long term. It can be exchanged for any old thing, medium of exchange, and you can use it as a unit of account. Hey, this is worth 10,000 sats. This is worth 1 Bitcoin, right? You can't say, hey, man, I think these groceries are worth 3 drops of oil from the Middle East. That's a really difficult unit of account to work with. So it's money. and it's money that cannot be debased by someone else. Once it's your money, Justin, nobody can do anything with it to mess you up.
On the medium of exchange, I feel like that, you know, there is some concern around it being a true medium of exchange. Like, I know there are plenty of places where you can buy things in Bitcoin, but I mean, you can't pay your taxes in Bitcoin. And there's still majority of, you know, places you want to buy something you can't buy in Bitcoin yet. So would you agree it's not 100% a medium of exchange, or would you disagree?
Disagree into infinity and beyond. And here's why. There are places around the world where you can buy something directly with Bitcoin. So we like that. Okay. Maybe it's not everywhere. You're not buying Starbucks with Bitcoin yet, but it does happen between an individual and a business. You can also buy things directly from individuals right now with Bitcoin. Okay. It's electronic cash. It's just like handing somebody cash. You're done. So if you want, you could buy something from me right now. You can come to my house, Justin, literally take anything you want and I will sell it to you if you want to give it. You can't pay your taxes in Bitcoin, maybe, right? Maybe in El Salvador you can, I don't know, right? But probably over time, the governments will accept Bitcoin, especially if, like this year, many of them are announcing plans to explore a strategic Bitcoin reserve. They'll take your Bitcoin. If you want to pay taxes in Bitcoin, they'll probably end up taking it. I won't. I'll say, here's your paper. I'll pay you in your paper. So the medium of exchange, however, is infinitely available if you want to convert from one money to another. Okay. Just because you might not be able to go buy Starbucks right now with Bitcoin doesn't mean you can't sell Bitcoin for US dollars and then take those US dollars and buy the thing you want. So you are going medium of exchange item.
Yeah, but in that case, like the dollar is the medium of exchange in that case.
Well, the medium Bitcoin, right, is exchanged into dollars. And so Bitcoin is the medium of exchange for dollars. And then dollars becomes the medium of exchange for coffee, right? So don't get hung up on the fact that you have to convert for dollars to then buy something. Because guess what happens if you want some Starbucks for your Robert T. Kiyosaki house? What are you going to do? Sell them a corner of your living room? No, you need to convert that house into dollars and the dollars into Starbucks. So there's layers of medium of exchange there. But over time, guarantee you'll be able to buy all kinds of stuff directly for Bitcoin. Okay. But then what happens, Justin? 8 years later, you're like, ooh, I should have bought that with paper because I could have 10x'd my stack. Right? Shoot. If I'm still working in the fiat mines and I'm mining fiat each day through my day job, I should pay for this junk with paper. And then whatever I have left over, I don't need to do no stocks. I don't need to do no bonds. I don't need to be a Wall Street bro. I don't need a financial advisor. I don't need to earnings reports. Just buy Bitcoin and take it into self-custody. And over time, you'll love your life.
Simple.
Dude, it is so simple.
That's it.
Just buy Bitcoin.
Just buy Bitcoin. Just buy it, right?
And the more people that buy it, the more the value will go up.
Right.
The more money you'll make.
Which is not a problem, right? So let's imagine you are living in Africa several hundred years ago, and glass beads are money for you, right? Glass beads are difficult to make if you're in Africa during that time. So you have to work hard for them. They can also be, so it's like a store of value, right? A medium of exchange, you can spend 1 glass bead, 10 glass beads, 100 glass beads, depending on the transaction size, and a unit of account. Hey, this is worth 47 glass beads. This is worth 89 glass beads, right? Someone comes along from Europe and says, guess what? We don't use glass beads. We use gold coins. And you say, well, why do you guys use gold coins? Like, well, it's very hard to make, right? And you can use 1 gold coin, 10 gold coins, 100 gold coins, and things can be worth 4 gold coins, 9 gold coins, whatever. Like, well, we use glass beads. And they say, okay, well, hang on, I'll be right back. They sail back to Europe. They make an absolute ton of glass beads because they have more advanced technology. And they used to do this, Justin. They would fill the hulls of their ships with glass beads to keep them from tipping over on the ocean on their way down to Africa. And they say, okay, we're here. We got your money, bro. We got your money. Okay. And what do you have? Oh, well, we have resources. We have items. We have things we've made. And we'll give them to you in exchange for the glass beads. Great. Here's your glass beads, my guy. And what happens? All of their wealth is basically hoovered out for nothing.
Right.
So when
because the supply of glass beads went up.
Correct. Yeah. Right. It's not hard to make glass beads.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like how it's not hard to print more money versus mine more Bitcoin.
It's not hard to print more money. Exactly. It's too easy. It's too easy.
Too easy.
Right. So I am confident Bitcoin will go up forever and that the volatility is not important because Bitcoin is money and a money is used to represent the productivity of an economy. Okay.
Right.
And as the world's productivity increases with technology, artificial intelligence, etc., but the supply of money available to buy stuff with does not increase, then the amount of stuff you can buy with your Bitcoin goes up and up and up and up. You know what the price of Bitcoin is right now?
96K.
No. What's the price of Bitcoin right now, Chris? Without checking your phone.
1 Bitcoin.
The price of 1 Bitcoin is 1 Bitcoin, right? We're so used to living in a nation state and using a nation state paper that the only way we can approach Bitcoin is, well, how much dollars is it worth?
Right.
No. How much purchasing power will I have in the future when I'm too old to close cybersecurity deals anymore? Right? That's where you should be thinking.
Yep.
How does that strike?
Makes me want to buy more Bitcoin.
Makes you want to buy more Bitcoin. Yeah, boy. Okay. So you should also read the Bitcoin Standard by Safedine Amoose.
Okay.
You should absolutely smash buy that book right now. And
$30 on Amazon.
$30 on Amazon if you got a Kindle, whatever.
Perfect. Yep.
Get that. That book will change your life, dude. So what else comes to mind, right? We've talked about Bitcoin is valuable now and Bitcoin is valuable in the future because it is a store of value. It is a medium of exchange, even if you have to filter it through someone else's currency for now. And it's also a unit of account. Okay. And maybe we want to talk about that a little bit. Bitcoin as a unit of account.
Yeah.
Right. Can you imagine a world where your coffee is not $7, it's 7,000 sats?
I could imagine that.
So can you imagine a world where your Starbucks coffee is 1/8 of an ounce of gold?
No.
No, dude.
Could not.
This ain't the Wild Wild West. Right? Who's carrying gold in their pocket? Right?
No one.
And who's accepting gold?
No one.
No one. Right? And if you needed to buy something real big, what are you going to do? Carry 300 pounds of gold to the guy?
Right.
No. So a unit of account. This gets crazy, Justin, when you start to do this, okay? So where are you right now? Are you in an apartment? Are you in a house? What's happening here?
Yeah, apartment.
Okay. All right. So what could be interesting for you to do? How long have you been in this apartment?
It'll be a year next month.
Okay. So and has the rent increased at all?
Mm-hmm. It's going to next month.
Okay. So what would be very interesting for you would be to take the amount of fiat required to rent that apartment in month 1, and then the amount of fiat required to rent that apartment when the price goes up. Okay. Then take the amount of fiat required to rent the apartment in month 1, convert it to gold. Go back in time to that moment and say, well, how much money could I get? How much gold could I get for my money then? And price your apartment in ounces of gold. Then take the new number, take today's gold price it in gold. See if it's also gone up, or has it stayed flat or gone down? Because gold has appreciated in value, money hasn't. Okay. Then do it with Bitcoin. How much Bitcoin 12 months ago to rent this place? And even with the price going up, how much Bitcoin to rent it today, dude? Okay. And when you come back, hopefully in 9 months, you'll come back, give us an update on your Bitcoin, baby. You'll have that answer for us.
Yep.
So let me share a little story with you, dude. I did this with my house. So I bought my house here in Raleigh in 2014 for $200,000. Okay. I bought it. Not really, bro. The bank bought it.
Yeah.
And I pay them a little bit each month. And this is my house. All right. In 2024, the value of the home was not $200,000. How much do you think it was?
$350.
$350. It's 440,000 dwills. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's check whether there's actually a hell yeah here, because on its surface, hey, my home has increased 220%, bro. Right? I'm saving in assets, homie. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert T. Kiyosaki. Let's go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, the home has increased in value about 8% per year every year, which seems pretty nice. But then you adjust for inflation, and it's more like 3% per year every year. Not as cool. Especially since I've probably spent that 3% on property taxes and other things, replacing the HVAC, other things. Okay. But it still feels pretty juicy, huh? All right, let's take a look at gold. Okay. In 2014, the amount of gold required to buy my house was however many ounces, dude. Nobody can conceptualize that. The amount of gold to buy my house in 2024, how much gold compared to 2014 do you think? If it was like, let's just say it was like 160 ounces of gold or something like that. How much in 2024 to buy the same house? Now that it's 440.
180?
Dude, it's the same damn amount of gold. It's actually 99% of the amount of gold. My house has gone down in value. Dude, my home has lost value in 10 years compared to gold. Okay. Compared to fiat, we're ripping 220%. Compared to gold, I'm down 1%. All right. 2014, it took 530 or 540 Bitcoin to buy my house at $200,000. All right. Today, how much to buy a $440,000 home in Bitcoin?
4 Bitcoin?
Dude,
roughly?
Less than 5. Yeah. 500 plus in 2014, less than 5 in 2024, which means what? My house has dropped 99% in the past 10 years. My house is a coin, dude. My house is Ethereum. Okay? It's Solana. Dude, it's a my house is a coin. And you realize, holy smokes, why is this house 220% in fiat terms? It's the same house with the same roof, the same doors, and the same windows. Not a single thing about the real world value of this house has changed in a decade, right? And so in fiat terms, where we're always printing more money and everything gets more expensive and inflation and all that, yeah, I'm keeping up. In gold terms, which is, it's old, it's gold, right?
Yep.
It's been a pretty solid money for millennia. Okay, so we love on gold, but Bitcoin is ripping. Bitcoin is going insane, right? So if you have any spare cash, we don't need no stocks. We don't need no bonds. We don't need no real estate. We need more Bitcoin.
So I do have an investment rental property. So you think I should sell that rental property and just buy all Bitcoin?
Well, do you want to have a rental property or would you like to go to the moon?
I'd like to go to the moon.
Let's go to the moon, dude, because if you go to the moon, you can come back to Earth anytime and buy as many rental properties as you want, right?
Right.
I mean, remember, you would have 10x'd your cash. So if you had bought not 1840, but 18400, if you had bought not 18400, but 184K, if you had bought 184K, you'd have $1.84 million today. How many rental properties can you get for that?
Quite a few.
Quite a few, right? But are you even going to want a rental property at that point? No.
Nah, I just want to buy more Bitcoin.
You just want to buy more Bitcoin, right? And live your life. So yeah, my advice, if it were me, yeah, dude, that rental property is a gold coin. It's Disney stock. It's paycheck stock. It's Magic the Gathering cards, and it's junk in my basement.
You know, Robert Kiyosaki, he's a big Bitcoin guy too.
He is. And he bought.
He's always tweeting, buy more Bitcoin, buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah. I think he bought 6 Bitcoin at $60,000. And so he dropped 360K into Bitcoin, I believe, right? Which would put his 360K at $600,000 right now.
Mm-hmm. Quick double up.
Dude, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he's going to write a new book called Rich Dad, Bitcoin Dad. Okay? And the Bitcoin Dad's going to smoke the Rich Dad. So, dude, we could talk about Bitcoin forever, couldn't we? And there's so much to Bitcoin. There's so much to Bitcoin. Is it money? Yes. Is it technology? Yes. Should I buy some? Yeah. Should I sell it? Maybe, maybe not.
No.
Depends. It is money. It's all good. I wouldn't.
Yep.
It's all good. You know, how do you mine it? Where should you buy it from? How do you store it? Should I run my own node? What am I doing with this dumb nation state paper? How do I get rid? There's all kinds of questions, right?
Right.
And maybe when you come back on, we'll be able to talk some more. But for now, how do you feel after today's conversation? What's new for you, or what did you learn that you weren't expecting to?
I guess the whole mining process was new. I didn't really know much about that. And I think it just reinforced a lot of what I thought about Bitcoin originally, and gave me knowledge around, that backs it up. And yeah, I feel more confident than ever in Bitcoin after today, and makes me want to buy more.
Okay. Chris, let's make him an offer.
All right, so we've got $50 in cash. You're our first virtual guest, so normally we do this in person, but that we would physically hand to you if you were here in the studio. So you can have your choice between that and $50 worth of Bitcoin, which I'm going to look up right now on the Clark Moody dashboard. Sats per dollar is at 1,044 Satoshis per dollar. So I'm going to take 1,044 and multiply that by 50 for $50 so that you can see 52,200 52,200 sats.
52,200 sats. Okay, so hold up the cash real quick for Justin. So what we have here, $50 worth of nation state paper, which will probably buy you $20 worth of stuff later, or 52,200 sats, which will probably buy you more than $50 worth of stuff later. And by the way, if we're Justin in 2017, this would buy $500 worth of stuff today.
True.
Which one do you want?
It's just a really hard choice. I just love nation state paper.
Dude, he's trolling us.
Man. I guess I'll go with the sats.
Yeah, we definitely know the stats. Come on, boy. Let's go. High five right here, dude. Virtual high five, dude. Skloush.
Yeah.
Bam, dude. There we go, man. We are 3 for 0, by the way. Not a single guess so far has taken whatever it is those sheets of paper are, dude. That is amazing. And by the way, when sats reach parity with the dollar, you will have made over $52,000 for coming on the show today. They're going to look at the podcast, Sat Chats, and the other days and make these dudes were literally just smashing tons of wealth for people like twice a day, every day, dude. These guys are spending $100,000 every day on their guests. These guys were absolute chads, and I can't wait for that moment.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Can't wait either.
All right, Justin, will you come back in 9 months and give us an update on your Bitcoin, baby?
Would be happy to. Yes.
That's my guy. All right. Well, let's finish out here. All of Justin's friends, all of the pre-coiners out there, all of the Bitcoiners out there, like and subscribe, right, on the YouTube channel. I believe once we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to unlock a live show where you, Justin, could come back on Friday morning. We'll hang out together. We'll chat about sats. We'll have a good time, okay? I think it's 1,000 subscribers, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So help us get to 1,000, like lickety split, so we can unlock that for everyone, okay? Justin, thanks for coming on, dude. You are the man.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
Woo! Sat Chats is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Our guests' views are their own.